How long is the match? Do we know?
It's like 20 minutes.
Hello! Are we live finally?
We are.
Yes,
We
hey, welcome! Welcome to the Watchalong. Welcome to Fightful Overbooked. We are doing a watch-along of Sasha Banks and Bayley, NXT Takeover Brooklyn. We actually have someone who was there in the house. We have Adam joining us. We're going to give everybody a second to introduce themselves, but I just thought this would be a really fun appetizer to Wrestle Kingdom. Feel free to get those Twitch bits in if you're watching us on Twitch at twitch.tv/FightfulGaming. Overbooked. I don't have access to Humper Chat, so I don't even know if we can. But of course, send in chats however you like. This is going to be just fun and casual, so no pressure to support financially, but I'm very excited to do this. This is one of, if not my favorite women's match of all time, at least on American television. And we put the link in the chat for you guys. So the Peacock link is there. We are about 1:13 and 10 seconds into it. There's about 2 ad breaks. If you do want to watch along and cycle through those, that is awesome. We can't stream it on here for copyright reasons, but we just wanted to talk about how great Sasha Banks is before the Mercedes Varnado, the Mercedes Monet era begins. But very excited to get this started. But we are just going to go around the room. Oh, we do have Humper Chat access. That is fantastic news. If you want to support via Humper Chat, that rules. Feel free to send in a Humper Chat at humperchats.com to get your question or statement read on air. But we've got a whole host of people that are going to be in the house, popping in and out as need be. We also have the Wrestle Kingdom watch along that is going to follow this, and we're going to try and get off air before that happens. But we're going to go around the room and let people introduce themselves and plug their shit. So we'll start with Robert D. Felice. How you doing, dude?
I'm all right. I'm getting over a bit of a cold, but I'm here. Follow me everywhere. You see the at right down there. You guys should know me. I'm on everything Fightful related. So I'm gonna give some of these other beautiful people a chance.
That he is. We also have Mike from Indeed over at Body Slam, I believe, saying good morning and happy Wrestle Kingdom Day to everyone. Happy Wrestle Kingdom Day to you. Kind of Christmas morning for hardcore wrestling fans. But we, of course, have the Doc in the house, too. Doc Bueller, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. This is going to be fun. This is probably like a top 10 match of the decade for me.
This is the reason I subscribe to the WWE Network. And I talked about this on Sour Graps a little bit before. Like, this, the whole women's revolution was a movement, right? But I think if you pick a moment, if you pick one match that kind of you point to as what kickstarted it, this is the one. And we have someone that was in the house in Brooklyn for that. Adam is here. How you doing, Adam?
Doing good. Really excited to watch it again. I'm not sure if I've seen it since I saw it live. Like, I don't think I've ever watched it on the network or the Peacock.
It's so good. I can't. What was it like being there live? Just top of your head thoughts. Did you know it was like, holy shit, something has changed now in wrestling?
Yeah, I think everyone knew. I don't know, maybe like 2 minutes in, those are wrong. Like, we felt it, and then like I just remember being like, well, I guess Finn and Kevin need to like top that, because like the main event was the Finn KO title match.
That's
and I was
right.
like, everyone was just exhausted. Like, everyone was just physically exhausted from that match.
Of course. Well, we thank you for joining us. Nice to have some new blood on these watch-alongs and a couple of old standbys. We've got Drew Nicholas. How you doing, Drew?
Hello. I'm also in Brooklyn, but I did not go to that match. But I think I also have not seen this match since I saw it on the network. So
okay.
This would be really fun to dive back into it.
A nice nostalgia watch. Again, if you are in the chat watching along, we thank you so much for joining us on Peacock. The link is posted at the top of this chat, and 1:13:10 is where we're about to pick up. But before we pick up, we're going to say hi to Caden. How you doing, Caden?
I'm doing great. I'm getting a little tired, but I'm staying up for Wrestle Kingdom. I need to stay up for my GOAT, Will Ospreay. I will be watching him. Kenny Omega is not as good as Will Ospreay. I need to make that very clear. I also told everybody that before we started the stream that I've actually never seen this match. If you guys know me, I did not get into wrestling until September of 2017. So this was a little bit before my time. and I've seen like a few minutes, but then just some stuff came up and I never got back to it. So I'm really excited to watch, and y'all will get my first time reaction.
That's awesome. I always feel like I'm behind as someone who started watching in 2009. So thank you for making me feel like a veteran and all of that. But we are going to go ahead and click play in 3, 2, 1, as dramatically as possible. If you're on the stream, you're smarter than I am and probably already muted. So we appreciate that.
Caden, I feel like I have to say on behalf of my daughter, go to hell.
What did I do?
Just the Kenny Omega thing. I don't actually care. If I don't say that,
I forgot that
Kylie will
Kylie's
yell
your
at me.
daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, there
She'll
you
yell
go.
at me. Yeah.
There you go.
I want to pull. I'm trying to find. Okay, I like to pull up the cage match stuff just to like get an idea of how people felt.
Sure,
A
yeah.
nine-
And I don't
a
think, Kaden, you
9.3.
probably. I mean, it is. And this wasn't even the Iron Man match, right? This is the first one. So
Yeah, this is the first one.
Mhm.
it's pretty incredible. If you haven't seen this run, you probably did not experience like pure, extremely over babyface Bayley coming out here with her Bayley buddies.
Man.
Which
No,
was
I had that for a little bit. I got like maybe
Okay.
got a year and a half, 2 years of babyface.
You got
Bayley.
it way after she was over, bud.
I thought she was over, but like that, like me first getting into wrestling, I didn't understand really like somebody being over, so I thought she was over. I don't know if she was in 2018.
I mean, like, I guess so, but it's nothing compared to this.
Yeah,
This
NXT Bayley was something special. Like the way the crowd supported her during that run is insane.
Mhm.
It was one of the most organic. That's what was kind of so special about that era of NXT. Not to sound like such an old person because I crap on it every Tuesday night, but that era of NXT was just so interesting because it was never supposed to be its own brand, and then it was just such a demand. And the women's revolution being so integral to it is such an interesting piece of it, because what was happening on the other than AJ Lee and Paige, it was just like 3-minute hair pulling matches of hot chicks. And it was so until this match, there were a lot of young women and women who were watching that didn't know women could exist in this way in wrestling. But here comes the legit boss herself, Miss Sasha Banks. Oh my God, everybody had those blinder shades. Remember those?
Oh yeah. Her and Zack Ryder got those glasses over.
That's right.
Mhm.
My God. Weren't they a Kanye West thing? I don't even know.
They were a Kanye West thing, yes.
We don't need to bring Kanye West up.
I wasn't going to. Yes, I am.
He stylized
You
them.
know.
That's as far as we're going to talk about him.
That's as far as we'll go with him. Oh my gosh, I see a #BelieveIn7 sign.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Wow. So there you go. There were hardcore fans there in Brooklyn. Adam,
Yeah.
what was the reaction on these entrances live like? Was there a feeling in the air that something special was about to happen? Because the builds going into this, we didn't have time to watch the promos tonight, but the build going into this was like some of my favorite Sasha Banks work ever. She was so vicious here.
Yeah, I mean, the builder was pretty insane. Like you guys had said earlier, I mean, Bayley was crazy over. I mean, like, it's so weird because I mean, at the Barclays Center, it's so at that time of NXT felt so weird when they left Full Sail, and when they brought the show. I mean, Brooklyn was one of the first non-Full Sail like NXT events. I think, right? I could be wrong. And
It was early
it
in the
was just-
lineup, yeah.
It was the
yeah,
first.
it was the first, right? It was just insane, and the crowd was so. At one point during the entrances, it was a good one. I mean, it was pops for both, but during the I mean, there was no one knew who they wanted to win at one point because it felt like we were all this weird euphoric state of like just like when wrestling's so good and there's so many good things happening and like nothing matters and you're kind of getting numb. There's like a numbness that sets in like 10 minutes and you're like, this is all just so good and I just don't care what happens.
That is the feeling of Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson at the first Arthur Ashe.
took the
That's
words out of my mouth. That's exactly how I
That's
felt.
real.
Where
Oh god damn it, John Alba's here.
I mean, I can back the fuck out of here if you want. me
No,
to.
I'm kidding,
this
I'm
might
kidding,
be for
I'm
a
kidding.
reason.
No, you
Thank
stay.
you. Thank you, John. If you want to jump in, we're at about 18 minutes or 118 into the link. We're just getting underway. We have Adam on the stream who was at Takeover Brooklyn, which is kind of cool. And Sasha Banks is like, she's so vicious here, but she's very sincerely emotional, which I actually
Trying
I don't think
so
I
hard.
remembered. Yeah, that's really special to
Yeah,
watch that.
I mean, I
Like she
actually-
was so close to tears right there.
yeah.
I did. This is the Bayley takeover match, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Brooklyn one.
I did a tape study of this match about 3 weeks ago over on my Patreon, and I think I did one on the anniversary of it too. I've watched this match so many times, and we literally broke it down move for move. And I'll pull it up here because this match, it's put together in a very special way, where character accentuation happens in a way that you don't typically see in that era of WWE.
Yeah, especially in women's wrestling. I mean, my God. But just in
Especially in
general,
women's
you're right.
wrestling,
Yeah.
I will get the link pulled up here. I was at this match. Was anybody else at this match?
Nice.
Adam was, yeah.
I was supposed to be, but things got in the way.
But
Yeah, but this I feel like was the coming out party for the women's division.
What's our timestamp here?
right now we're at about 119.30ish. You might have a couple of ad breaks.
Yeah, I'm at 119.40.
Okay. I talked about this with Alex Pulowski a little bit, and we were saying that like this might be for the generation of women's wrestling that's coming up, their Bret Hart tribute matches type thing. Like that crossface stepping on the fingers toward the end of this. Like that might be that moment. I know I'm sure LEC will pop in here at some point, but like it's that level of having something to point to, which I think is so special.
That's a really good point. And I think that's, how do I phrase it? Like that for American women's wrestling, for sure. This was like, just as soon as I got into wrestling and I started learning what all of this was and learning about NXT and indie wrestling, all of it, the first thing I had heard about was this. This was the one thing that everyone was like, this is the women's match.
Well, two things that this match does very well. This match does beats very, very well. Like you're seeing one right now. There are moments that are taken that allow the audience to soak in who the characters are at their essence in these specific little story beats, and you'll see a few of them throughout it. That's the first thing it does really well. The other thing it does really well there are a ton of callbacks to earlier spots in the match, this being one of them right here, and particularly the rule of thirds, which is a principle that you see in a lot of pro wrestling matches where something happens 3 times, and on the 3rd time is when it's successful. So take note of that right there with Sasha, where she laid Bayley out but couldn't get her out the first time. I think that's the first time we see it in the match there.
Oh God, Sasha is a heel. She was fun as a face, but heel Sasha is just like for me. And this version of heel, because Bayley was such a pure baby face at this point, like,
and I think
so good.
Yeah, this one she puts her hair up in a ponytail. Does she do that here, or does it come later in the match?
That's right here.
I think a little. Yeah. Oh, it is right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
right now. Yep.
There it is. Yep.
So again, there's one of those story beats right there, where again it's allowing you to indulge in the character a bit more.
I
think this was the best NXT. I'm just gonna say it. I think they nailed what they had here, and they knew how to develop and build a brand. And I think they've been chasing that ever since.
I also love this event because they brought in Jushin Liger just randomly. They're like, let's just put him in the ring with Tyler Breeze and let him have fun. And it was like,
great match. I love that match.
So do I, but like looking back on it, it's almost like a fever dream. Like it's such a random thing to happen, and I love it so much.
It's funny that you said great match. Honestly, I don't remember that being a great match. I actually
It's not
think
a 5-star classic. It's just kind of fun.
I mean, it's fun.
It's really
I
fun.
think,
Yeah.
I think the undercard of this show is actually not very good, truth be told, if I remember it correctly. I mean, go
I
ahead.
think you start with a hype Rose match.
Yeehaw!
I think that was the opener with that Zack Ryder Mojo Rawley team.
The Vaudevillains won the titles on the show, and like the moment was great, but the match itself, I don't remember being.
Well, all
anything
anybody remembers from that was Blue Pants coming.
Yeah, they
out.
had Leave Bates. Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
That's right. Yeah.
And
But
the
again-
main was Kevin Owens versus the Demon. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought this match was better than that.
I remember
That-
Joe and Corbin being decent. I mean,
So-
anything Joe does is going to be
story
fun.
tracks for Corbin.
Yeah.
He's never
Yeah,
bad.
I
Like he's
gotta-
not bad. He's just
Yeah, I
never
got
won a
a
match.
cage match rating was a 5.48 on Joe Corbin. Not terrible.
Graham B saying that Bayley succeeding despite Vince is a true anomaly. They tried so hard to ruin her with that kendo stick stuff. Like when she was too dumb to use the kendo stick as a face, that kind of like ended her as a face, and it's a credit to her ability to reinvent herself as a heel. That's just unbelievable. The feud that we're watching right now, I felt like was one of the only not just watchable things, but really great things through the pandemic. And then what did they give Bayley at WrestleMania? But get run over by the Bella Twins for no reason was such an insult.
Real quick there, Kate, you saw Bayley go, or you saw Sasha go for the middle rope thing, the knees again for the second time. She wasn't able to do it. And that sets you up to take it now to the third attempt here. And that rule of 3 is so effective in wrestling storytelling because it gives fans something to anticipate. And when you anticipate a moment, it highlights the moment like you see there with Sasha.
It's
Not to
so
cut you off,
good.
I apologize.
No. You're totally
No,
fine. That's exactly where we're my stream is at, so it's perfect. But
Yeah.
also just like the facial expressions and the desperation on Bayley's face and the frustration with Sasha, like every second of this is so character driven and well done.
Oh, I love Mercedes.
These
And to
two
put
really
this
were a special
into-
combination.
Even more context, like even at this point, it's
This camera
still, like,
shot's my favorite. Sorry.
wow, this is a long match.
Phenomenal.
Oh my god, and a long match in general for women. I mean, it was 3 minutes on the main roster, right? Like you weren't getting anything.
Commentary steps back in this moment too, so you could hear Sasha jaw off, and then she gets the boot to the face, and it leads to the first cutoff for the baby face, which again, great story beat in that process too.
Oh god, it's so good.
John, oh my! Listening to John talk about this is great.
I'm so glad. I didn't know you did a match study on it before. Like it's
I didn't know that either. This is so. I really
It's
like it.
adding. It's honestly adding to the
No, it's
watch
awesome.
along. I have to say.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I'm glad you
very
popped
much.
on.
I don't know. I love watching wrestling, like how a pitching coach watches a pitcher. You know, it's just like breaking it down, and
That's
I
what
mean-
I do with my wrestling. I like to do that.
and right here you see, I mean, this is such a great heat spot where we're telling that story where if you've been paying attention to this point, the injury, it was a legitimate injury that Bayley had, and the visuals that they do leading into this is just incredible. And like that's such a small thing there where to break the count, all Sasha had to do is roll back into the ring herself, but because she's the heel and she's inflicting pain, she just beels Bayley into the ring and beels her back out. And that's just such a small thing, but I mean, as effective as a heel.
Especially because she was doing it like by her wrist.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like just furthering this whole working the limb that she's doing. God, that stomp spot. Every time that gets me, like I remember the first time I saw Shayna do that, and I thought she like legitimately broke a girl's arm in half.
Yeah, that always will get those types of moves will always get me.
Yeah,
John, I
Yeah.
don't think you were here when I said this, but I told everybody like this is my first time watching the match.
Well,
Yes, Kaden hasn't seen it before. So welcome.
yeah. Well, we're in for a treat
It's h-
because
I'm in love. This is amazing.
It's
These
hard
two
to
just work
articulate.
so well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like, and I always say like I'm not someone that's had like a favorite horsewoman. Like it's always like the last ones that I just watched are my favorite. I probably break a little bit towards these eras of
Oh, the
Bayley.
lead ref. I
Perfect.
forgot about
Yeah.
that spot.
holy shit.
Yeah, that was. I remember how scary that was the moment it happened. People were like, "Whoa, Jesus, calm down."
This too, like I don't know how to properly express to Kaden, especially like how much this just was not happening on American women's wrestling television outside of
No.
Impact a little bit. Like this was just so, I mean, it was just insulting. You're a bitch, hair pull for 2 minutes, sex object for men, you're out. And then like this, this came up and the whole movement behind it and preceding all this, AJ Lee and Paige did a lot of work to get them here. Right. But like,
Yep.
it just, we didn't get to see this before. We really,
Mhm.
really didn't.
And,
And I
and the
think
crazy thing,
spots. Oh, go ahead, Adam.
no, go ahead.
I think spots like that are the reason why, while dangerous, just the reason why Sasha is as over as she is with everybody, because it just shows her passion and dedication to making sure that every single match matters, and you can see it in every single match of hers.
Yep.
And like here's another beat, right? Where Sasha, as the heel, she hits that tope over the top and becomes overzealous. Then she goes for something even higher. You have the cutoff from Bayley there to allow this come up moment with the crowd where, still Sasha probably has more momentum at this point, but by allowing the crowd to come up just a little bit, you're slowly building back towards that Bayley comeback that is coming here.
I do want to welcome Ryan onto the screen. I did not see you hiding out. My
I've been there
Mark
for a few minutes
Wednesday-
now.
I was so sorry. I was watching the match like an idiot. And Rob, by the way, I see you down there. If you did want to pop on, I think you're in StreamYard, so you could add yourself. Feel free to. But let's widen the scope a little bit on other favorite Sasha matches and moments. I always say that my favorite moment, like non-ring wise, was probably when Bianca went over at Mania and the fan footage caught her smiling. Just encapsulates to me everything a wrestler is supposed to be. Hell in a Cell, both of her Hell in a Cell matches, I think were just unbelievable.
She had three.
This match
She had
and the
three,
Iron Maiden.
right?
Oh, she did. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, she had three
actually,
great
yeah.
ones,
Three great ones?
two, or one in the pandemic. Like she did a fantastic Hell in a Cell in the pandemic.
Yes, that's a really good point. And then the Iron Woman match too at Full Sail was unreal. God, this is such a good spot that
I always felt like they should have given them an hour, but I understand why they didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
I think we also forget just how important this match is, because this is a few weeks after Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte debut on Raw. So now it's trying to pull that audience to NXT to watch one of the people who are about to leave. And then just Sasha really doing the honors leaving the territory. It's such an amazing moment because she knows that Bayley's going to be the person to hold us down, at least for the next 2 months till Asuka comes up. Right.
Yep.
And so I think this match is so important. And I think they both knew how important it was, because it was just a shift. And because Bayley was going to be the one of the four to not be called up for another way too long period.
I think it was 6 months.
Another year.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
part of that was the injury, right? Didn't she have? Was it the wrist at that point? I think so. Yeah.
I think it might have been, yeah.
That spot
Injury
that we
and
just
needing
saw-
someone down there.
That spot that we just saw was actually my one gripe with the match, because we got that amazing visual of Sasha stomping Bayley's hands and the excruciating pain that she's in, and then she reverses it and locks on a crossface. And I get the idea of it where you're trying to reverse the fortunes and put a lot of steam behind the babyface, but I feel like after that visceral kick that we saw from Sasha, Bayley should have been selling that wrist a little more in that moment.
I'd agree with that.
That's fair, yeah.
And that really is like my one complaint with this match.
Yeah, I feel like
That is-
if she did like, it would have been cool if she had done like the she did the cross face and then had to pull away because her wrist was hurting.
I
And I
love
wanna-
how. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
real quick, I'm sorry. Again, rule of 3. We saw the first Bayley to Bayley. She couldn't hit it.
Yeah.
The second one, she hits it, but it's not good for the pin. So the third one we know is coming. That could be what puts her away later. Just something to put in the back of your head.
I was just going to comment on how I love how perfect that pop up into the Bayley to belly is. Like,
Oh,
just how well Sasha
Excellent.
lands right straight up on her feet and then right into the move. It looks so good.
I just want to say Sasha Mercedes deserves literally whatever she's about to get because
Yes.
she put an entire
Yep.
division on her back. And yes, there were the others as well, but Sasha was an element that I don't think a lot of people give credit to.
You know what I love too is that Sasha at no point has ever felt to me like, oh, that's Snoop Dogg's cousin. Like, I don't care that she's related to Snoop Dogg. I don't think that overshadows her in any way. And when he comes in, it feels like he's doing it because he's a fan of hers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Very good point.
she's gotten over so much that being Snoop Dogg's cousin does not overshadow her career. It's
Yeah,
great.
I agree.
Kaden's face right now. I love it.
But even that failed Rana, this is my favorite kick out right here. I love this kick out.
Oh, that was awesome.
That look on her face.
Y'all don't understand how excited I am for Mercedes to do work in Stardom. Presumably,
One thing-
that's the presumption. But so excited.
I think
I hope it's not just one match.
I hope she stays out. Don't go back.
I'm always what's interesting with Stardom too, like Sasha's always been so good at using, if you're 100 pounds soaking wet, but you heave 100 pounds of yourself at someone that hurts, right? Like that's Darby Allin's whole career. Sasha has always used her size like remarkably well in her move set. And I think in Stardom, where there's so many opponents her size, it's just kind of like fun to see what that matchup looks like because she was fighting like Becky and Charlotte, who had size advantages over her for so long. Bayley's a little bit bigger than her. I just think that should be so interesting that she'll be picking on people her own size for the most part.
There's so many dream matches I want for Mercedes. I'm really pumped. I like right now I'm of the belief that she's not going back. I know some people still think she'll go back for Rumble. I think she's not going back, and I'm just really I bought into that idea at this point, and now I'm just like, all right, I'm ready for 2-3 years of just like banger after banger.
This is the moment.
Here it is.
I'm staring at Kaden right now.
Yeah, it was just tremendous. And like again, what I love about this match, you elevate every moment. Like even before when Bayley, there was no water in the pool, she went for a standard Rana from the top. So how does she end the match? She does a reverse Rana, Frankensteiner. It's just taking it to the next level. And how do you enhance the story? And man, it's just so great. This is
God, that finish is just
That was really good.
And the finish is the third Bayley to belly. It's the rule of 3.
Third Bayley to belly, yeah.
And then there's that guy that's at every wrestling show.
Can't stress this enough. This just didn't happen. So at this point, this crowd is like, oh my God, we've witnessed history. You know, I can't imagine how many women in the crowd are just like, oh, cool. Women are going to get to shine now.
Truly,
You know
like
what I love
anytime,
Sorry,
you know, I think anybody who is in the realm of Fightful knows who Allie Cease is and that she's the biggest Sasha stan in the world. But like this match for a lot of people redefined what it meant to be a woman in wrestling. God, I love I'm seeing the replay right now of Sasha just stomping on Bayley's hands. It really it's weird to see a milestone like that in real time. like in an art form. It's just a really unique experience to have.
Anybody want a hot take?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I prefer Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Shida.
Well, okay, yeah.
And that's fine.
But like, think of the growth.
So it's been really fun.
Here.
Like, I'm totally kidding. No, there's so many. It just feels like it would be impossible to get there from without this. You know, like truly how transformative it is. But
I also feel like those are two different types of matches telling two different stories as well.
Caden, I was busy doing stuff until you said that. And bye.
That wasn't me that time. That wasn't me.
No, you can put it back in. That's fine. I was just giving him a hard time.
Well, what I like about it is now we have the full like Brady Bunch opening.
Yeah,
if we have
there we go.
full grid, but
I am Alice once again.
that's right. But let's widen the
you're
scope
good, Alice,
a little
Drew.
bit.
Okay.
You're a phenomenal Alice, but I do want to widen the scope about that. This is about mercy.
All right. Well,
What the fuck?
Are you on? There we go. Okay.
Okay, and well, I have a really important question for Caden.
Yeah.
This match, or the entirety of Dominic Mysterio?
Oh, guys,
Robert, what are your favorite Sasha Banks matches and moments?
So outside of this one, there's a really good one with
the ending
Bayley
is
at
awesome.
NXT
Oh, yeah.
Takeover Unstoppable from May of this year. That was the first time I knew women's wrestling in America was going to be okay. Then of course there's like her and Bianca, her and Bayley, everything they did during the pandemic carried the company. She really is as good as her character always claimed to be. And I think if you look at it, there was honestly nothing left for her to do in WWE. So let her spread the wings.
Well, certainly not if this is still going to be the state of the tag titles, right? They haven't really done a ton of work even under Hunter to rebuild those. So just a reminder, if you do want to get a super chat or a humper chat, and feel free to do so now because we are coming down the home stretch into Wrestle Kingdom itself, which is pretty fun and exciting. But Rob, you joined us kind of late, but your thoughts overall on this match and
it's one of my favorite NXT takeover matches of all time. It's if I was to make the one thing that I always like talking about is how I used to be into the tape trading scene. This would be on if I was to make a best of tape, this would be like in one of my best of tapes. It's one of my favorite matches. There's just so much to it. And this was the match that got me to be a fan of Sasha Banks even more, and it got me to be a big fan of Bayley. I was going to be a fan regardless. And yeah, it was great. The one thing that I love more than anything in wrestling is when you see the emotion come out in the match. And even to give you an example of that press conference that Omega and Ospreay had, I love the emotion that Ospreay had. I can't wait for that. I think it adds so much more to the match now. I was already excited. I was already at at a 9.5 waiting for this match. Now I'm at an 11 out of 10 match. I'm just so pumped for it. So it just makes it so much better. And I love when there's emotion to the matches. So
speaking of pumped, I'm always pumped when Ella J is in the chat. Follow Ella J on Twitter. She is fantastic and incredibly hardworking, but she says, howdy y'all, I won't be able to stay up for Wrestle Kingdom because of an early work day. I hear you, sister, in the morning, but all hail Mercedes Varnado. Great hang here too. It was a wonderful hang. I'm very glad that we got to do this. I'm hoping to do more of these. I think it's fun to do single match focuses, and maybe we'll force Alba into a lot of these if you studied them already. But
yeah, honestly, John, thank you.
WrestlingAccordingToAlba.com. I do it every single week, by the way.
There you go. There you go.
No, this is good, man. I love this. Man, you strip away the BS of wrestling, and wrestling's full of BS. And insulary bubble that some people live in pro wrestling can definitely leave you a little jaded sometimes, but when you strip it down to its core and you just get something like this, which was a really, I mean, a monumental match in the tome that is professional wrestling in the United States of America, just tremendous. And I could not say enough positive stuff about Mercedes Varnado, and I think she is just an unbelievable talent. And she cemented that in her match with Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. And I remember being there watching that and just saying to myself that she's an all-timer. She is an all-timer, and whatever's next for her, I hope she only further adds on to that legacy.
Doc,
Amen.
moments, matches, and any thoughts on if she would do intergender matches? Any matchups you'd like to see in that arena?
So many.
I'll get to that in just a moment.
Goes so many.
I'll get to that in just a moment. But as far as matches go, I've always had a soft spot for the Fatal 4-Way with Charlotte, Bayley, Becky, and Sasha. I know it's not like the longest match, and it's not the best of any four of their lineup, but like there's something about it that I find really fun. I also just want to point out that there are so many like forced moments in pro wrestling where they try to make you feel like this is an important moment. And the curtain call we just saw was absolutely not one of those moments. It felt totally earned.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really get that very often. Like, to where you can go like, okay, they just worked their butts off and they earned the right to completely break character and acknowledge this group of women that has sort of redefined what the women's division in WWE is going to be. And like, it's crazy to think that when we were watching it, we were just thinking like, oh, this is a cool moment. And we had no idea just how far those ripples would actually go out.
I'm going to head out, but I'll see you guys in a few minutes. So,
But where are you going, Rob Wilkins?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm going to be in the New Japan Pro Wrestling I can't even talk. Wrestle Kingdom Night 1 watch along. So head on over right after this ends. So I think a lot of you are coming over.
Yeah, I'll be there.
So come on over. And it's going to be a good time. We're going to have all
And
kinds of
log in
people.
quick because the servers are crashed.
Yep, that's our.
Yeah.
I've already.
Bye, Rob.
Bye.
Bye. Guys, please leave a thumbs up on this video as we are wrapping up here. It helps people find us in the algorithm, which YouTube is always trying to mess with. So we do appreciate it. Who is it? It's not me.
Huh.
I guess is it Ryan who's by the
It
ocean
was
right now?
Ryan.
Blame Ryan.
It's the ocean waves, I guess.
Ryan,
That's
it's
what-
Ryan.
My
it's
mic's
weird.
muted.
Oh.
Mute your stream.
right.
See if that works.
Is that
It was Ryan.
I think it was Adam.
It might
Could have been Adam.
Oh, I don't know. It was one of you. I just want to say this too, real quick.
Scripps is here.
It was Scripps. It was Scripps from NXT who hacked us.
Real quick, Kate. I just want to say this. Mercedes Varnado, her first title that she ever won in professional wrestling, came on May 6, 2011, at the Community Center in Fairfield, Maine for IWE, which just happens to be the same venue and promotion that the Emmy Award-winning John Alba character made its debut for and in. So I would just
I didn't realize it was the independent wrestling character that won the Emmy. That's really
what I'm just saying is basically I am Mercedes.
You're basically
Varnado.
Mercedes
You are
Varnado.
Mercedes Varnado.
I don't think that's a
Mercedes
reach
is
at all, man. I think that's extremely accurate.
Yes.
But because you made that absurd comparison, please plug your shit and get the hell out of here. No, I'm just kidding. But
to alba.com, albamediaschool.com. Appreciate you all. This was super fun.
I'm
Enjoy
still
the
mad
rest
at you for not going with the Alba Academy.
You know,
Jason Jordan could be there.
Mission statements.
Yeah,
No, but we do appreciate you being on the stream. I didn't even know you did a match study. So
Absolutely.
that's awesome. But learn all about it at Alba Media School. Follow John on Twitter. He is a great mind and a great voice out there. We thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate you, and we appreciate Adam being here for his first watch along. He got away with the shortest watch along that's ever been done before. I'll probably get dragged into longer ones in the future if he wants to. But any favorite Mercedes Varnado matches, moments, any additional insights from when you were there that you can remember?
You know, that curtain call when they were there, that felt really special. That curtain call when it was so weird because at first they came out, Charlotte and Becky come out and they just had Bayley, which is great. And they're like, oh my God, are they not going to do a 4? And then they do a 4. It's just like, I don't know. It was just such a moment. We were all exhausted and emotional because wrestling makes me cry often because sometimes when it's like great, it's like beautiful. And so that was a really great moment. I enjoyed their follow-up, the Iron Man match. I don't think it hit better than this one. I think because it's really hard to get lightning in a bottle twice. But I don't know. I think that the one thing I've always loved about Sasha is that whoever she's in the ring with, she elevates no matter what. Proof is in that Ronda match that they had at the Rumble that year, where it's like, man, Sasha Banks will make everyone look golden.
Yeah, I think I think Carmella is great. I think she's hilarious. I don't think everybody needs to be as good as the 4 horsewomen to be in wrestling. But like, I remember Sasha and Carmella being a match that I was like, man, Sasha got a really good match out of Carmella. Like, she does have that ring general ability. I think we see it in all 4 horsewomen now. I think Ronda Rousey's a great example. She definitely needs to be in the ring with a ring general to have a successful match when she hasn't been. I think we've seen that that's the case, unfortunately. But thank you so much for joining us, Adam. You're awesome to have in my life just as a person and around on these. You're an awesome voice to have. And thank you for being here. Do you want to plug your shit?
Yeah. I mean, you can follow me on the Twitter at The Real Adam Mace. That's where I do things. And also at Adam Has Instagram, if you're interested in that kind of.
And you have awesome, cool non-wrestling podcast stuff going on too.
I host a podcast called The New York Mystery Machine, where me and my co-host, we examine all sorts of true crime / paranormal / alien stuff and all the weird stuff that's come out of New York. So it's you can listen to that on all the places you got podcasts. That's the New York Mystery Machine.
Well, you'll never run out of weird stuff to talk about in New York, that's for sure. Your fellow Brooklyner Drew had to hop off of here, but you can follow him at Big Money Drew. He'll also be on that Wrestle Kingdom watch along. And since we're talking New York, we can talk about Dude Felice, who's in Florida, but a former New Yorker. Dude, you want to tell us your favorite Mercedes moments and plug your shit?
I think your mic's off.
Yeah, you're muted, buddy.
Yeah, my favorite Mercedes moment, like I said, was Mercedes or Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. NXT Takeover Unstoppable was an amazing match. It's when I knew women's wrestling in North America would be okay. And
she doesn't realize she's muted.
She doesn't realize she's muted, but
this is the greatest thing in the world.
I'll just say real quick, Queens, born and raised, New York is so great. Follow me everywhere at Dude Felice. 2023 is a big one.
Yes,
Kate,
follow Dude Felice. I'm going to see if I can unmute Allie so that she can...
Yeah, solo screen her.
I can't unmute her because she muted herself. Allie, you're muted, baby girl.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay.
She just went on this epic rant for 5 minutes
so sorry,
and we didn't hear
guys.
any
I
of
can
it.
barely hear any of you, and I guess you couldn't hear me, so it was fine. I'm so sorry to bust in like this. Kate, thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
I'm rambling mess right now. I'm feeling all the emotions right now. We had a family emergency, so I'm in the car. But this is Mercedes' night, not mine. So I just wanted to pop in, join the celebration. I had a whole presentation ready. I had my jacket, my glasses, my rings ready. But I didn't bring them in the vehicle with me. I have my t-shirt on. Oh, am I distracting you? Wait. Yes, I was on the road. Okay. But I just wanted to pop in and say that I love you all and I love Mercedes and yeah. And I got my microphone working now.
I love you, Triplet.
Bye. So sorry, guys.
No, you're fine.
That is the effect of Sasha Banks. Real quick. That is her legacy. That is exactly why we're here.
I wish I could pull up the picture she sent me. She had she sent me pictures of her all decked out of her she had her rings and her whole outfit is just incredible. I'm sad we don't get to see it, but she is a wrestler, and largely because of Sasha Banks. Sasha is who inspired her the most. That's the whole reason I invited her on here. But follow her at Allie Wrestles. It's really cool to see a younger generation get inspired by women's wrestling. It's because of this match in a lot of ways. Ryan, I accidentally didn't bring you on for like 10 minutes. And then by the time you got here,
that's a good thing.
It's all right. I hear him talk every Wednesday. It's not that big of a deal. But we actually had conversations off air about this match and how we all talked about what it did for women's wrestling. But you just view this as a match that got you back into wrestling as a lapsed fan, male or female. And I really loved hearing that, because it's not a story we hear kind of a ton. But if you just wanted to give your thoughts about that.
Yeah, so I said that, first of all, am I the only one who didn't realize the Cease Twins had a southern accent? Never knew that.
The most southern.
Yeah, like I didn't realize it was that southern.
People. When I'm around them, I go really into my south because I'm from Texas originally. So when I'm around them, they bring out my southern.
There you go. Whenever I go back to Binghamton for commentary, I come back sounding like I'm from the Midwest, but
But yeah, because this was in 2015 when I got back into wrestling after too long away from it. And you said, well, watch Takeover. And this match was one of the first I saw. And I loved the story of this match more. I mean, the in-ring action was great, but it's the story that got me, that sucked me back in. I was like, all right, I love this again. So really, I attribute this match to really get me back in as much as I am, because I just loved the story of this match.
It's I say it all the time. It's the reason I ended up subscribing to the network. Totally brought me back in from, I guess I was a casual at that point and got back into it formally. I started wearing ball gowns to shows. It was completely different, but we'll close out with Cadence. It was your first time watching this match. Very excited that we got to sit here and watch it together. I would encourage you to go back and watch it when you can hear the crowd and commentary, because it's just so worth it. But thanks for joining us. Any just general Mercedes Varnado things that you're excited about for the future, moments and memories that Sasha Banks?
So Mercedes has been a big part of my experience in wrestling. Like when I got into it in 2017, she was that was when everyone was speculating about having the big Sasha Bayley feud up on the main roster. That was the first big complaint I ever heard from the IWC that got me like kind of not, I guess, reeled into the IWC, was when people were complaining about them not doing the turn. And then the tag titles, and there's just so many things about Mercedes that, like, when with the Ryan Satin report at WrestleMania, that was the first time I heard what a dirt sheet was. I didn't know what a dirt sheet was. And that led me here. And now I'm here. There's so much about her career that got me where I am today. So she has, like, her and the Four Horsewomen have a special place in my heart. And I've been saying for the last few weeks, like, I know people were like, oh, it's going to take a while for me to learn to say Mercedes instead of saying Sasha. And I started saying this in June. I had this just gut feeling that she was done, that she was not going to come back. She was going to go wrestle elsewhere. Everyone said either she was going to come back or she was going to just go into film. And I just had this feeling that no, she was going to go wrestle elsewhere. And so I just started saying Mercedes, Mercedes, Mercedes. So now when I hear Sasha, it's actually weird to me because I consider her Mercedes. There's just...
You've already made the jump.
I made the jump. I'm already there. I got it. She's Mercedes to me. I'm super excited for tonight. I will very likely end up crying. You can see that on the watch along. I will cry when she comes out, likely, unless I'm like too tired to cry. But she's amazing. Everything she does is amazing. I think that she, like, in the next, like, depending on what she does in the next year, I think we could consider her the GOAT of women's wrestling. And I want to end my little tangent by I want to read this comment that I put out because I love this. I put out this tweet today, and this is amazing. Sasha Banks is a future WWE Hall of Famer. Mercedes Varnado is a living legend.
Yeah, that's
Agreed. Agreed entirely. And I'll just reiterate what I have kind of been saying, which is she could have done anything that she wanted. Movies, music, runways, whatever she wanted. And she chose to come back to pro wrestling in Japan, of all places, and continue her legacy and expanding women's wrestling in that way. And I just think that's really damn cool. You can follow me at Miss Kate Faye, but not only should you be following everybody at their wonderful handles that they mentioned, but go follow the watch along for Wrestle Kingdom. Experience that moment with the rest of the Fightful game. We've got coverage until the morning, and then there's going to be plenty of news coming out on FightfulSelect.com. Sean Ross Sapp has you covered with every scoop that he can get his dirty little hands on. So check out FightfulSelect.com, but go please watch that Wrestle Kingdom watch along. It'll help keep you awake if you're trying to stay awake. We appreciate you so much for joining us for this. I really want to do more of these in the future. So please enjoy wrestling today and always. We're out.